This might be cringe if we do it. Remember, because I'm an island boy and I'm trying to make it. And the island boy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Welcome to Duos, the podcast to celebrate. Welcome to Duos, the podcast that celebrates the most iconic duos that have shaped our world. I'm Cart.
And I'm Mox.
In each episode, we'll break down the chemistry, influence, and impact of these duos, ultimately deciding who reigns supreme in their category. Whether you're here for the camaraderie, the hot takes, or just some good old-fashioned debate, get ready to discover the most dynamic duos in existence. This is Duos.
That was surgical right there. That was a surgical.
I've been holding back on the past one, so I had to show up more.
Okay, bro. This one's going to be kind of funny. Oh, sup, you fuckers. Welcome to the Kine, where we're going to talk story and dive deep into all the best parts of island life. Today, we got one banger of an episode for you, because we're breaking down the most cherreh island duos of all time. You know the kind, huh? Those combos that just hit different. The ones that get you all stoked, bring the vibes, and make you feel connected to the ʻāina and the people. This episode is all about celebrating the most dynamic duos that define what it means to live the island life. We're talking about the most prime balance of action and cruise, tradition and innovation, and all the kind energy that makes the islands special. So sit back, relax, and grab one green bottle as we dive in to the most iconic pairings that keep the island vibes alive. CHEEE HOOOO!
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Let's go, boy. That's awesome.
This episode kind of feels like home already. You know, we got.
Yeah, so you set the tone right there.
Yeah.
You kind of went Jamaican for a second. I was like, oh, you went Caribbean with this a little bit.
I felt it a little bit.
In the middle, still over there, but then you brought it back with the CHEEE and everything.
Yeah. Maybe awesome. I was trying to mix all the different island vibes into it, you know? Like
yeah, I really thought about that. Because, yeah, I guess we're talking about island duos today, right?
Yes, sir.
And, of course, we're two boys born and raised on an island or a chain of islands in the middle of the Pacific. But there are a ton of islands in the world. Mm-hmm. A lot of them I have never been to, but I assume some of the best things we can take and we experience on islands kind of share similar traits or similar characteristics throughout the world. But I don't know if you stuck specifically just to where we grew up in Hawaii, because obviously we're biased and we think Hawaii is such a special place, but yeah. Did you just stick to Hawaii, or did you kind of open it up to a bunch of islands in general?
I definitely feel I stuck mainly to Hawaii just because that's what I've experienced. And it was kind of hard not to, you know, when we were kind of going through it or when I was going through it, it just kind of took me back to home when I was trying to think of different island combinations, collaborations. And so I definitely felt like mine was leaning more towards Hawaii. But as I kind of analyzed what my duos were about, a lot of it was about maybe nature, energy, or just vibes. Mm-hmm. And I think that this could be universal to many of the different islands, because I think just growing up in an island lifestyle way of being, it's unique from anywhere else where you're on a large mass of land. How about you? What did you feel when you were kind of going through your picks? Like, what was the vibes or the general similarities that you saw?
Yeah, I think I'm exactly on the same page as you. Again, we might be biased because we come from Hawaii, so a lot of my picks have to do with the experience growing up on Hawaii, you know, the island of Oahu. But I know for a fact the majority of people who grew up on islands and people I've met, whether it be like the Philippines or Japan or other places, I know they share the exact same sentiment about, the bias of growing up on an island. An island style of living, island style of growing up is premier, and it's like no other for sure. A great island duo to me is a pairing that you only get to experience on an island. So whether that be because of geographical differences or, like I said, an island style of living, any one of the many advantages you have living on an island. So that's where I'm coming from. It's something you can only experience living on an island versus, what we call the mainland or larger masses of geography and just countries.
Yep. Yeah, no, I like that. And I'm interested to see what your duos are like, because I guess for mine, you only really experience it at its like authentic core back in like the islands or home for us. But the hope for mine as well is it's all things that even if you're not in the islands now, or if you never grew up or been to the islands or Hawaii, you can kind of take what the energy, the vibes are and try to apply it to wherever you're at, or at least take maybe the lessons like learned from these duos and apply it into your own life. So I'm interested. I'm interested to see where each of us go. Yeah.
So how should we decide who goes first? Should we let out a secret game that we've always done back in the islands?
It's funny that you went there because I was thinking the same exact thing. And I was thinking maybe we go umizuma.
Wow.
Just one hand though. One hand.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Okay, perfect. I guess like for people listening, umizuma is this game. I don't know where it originally comes from, but we play it with a lot of our friends back home. And pretty much it's everyone will have either two hands. Me and Carter, we're just going one hand. And you say umizuma and then a number. If you get the number right, you take your hand out and pretty much you win. So we're pretty much trying to guess which number.
It's just a finger guessing game.
Yep. I've never done it online like this before, though. So this
might be a struggle, and you gotta just commit to your choice, whatever it is.
100%. Since I brought up the game, you can start.
Okay, lock it in. You can't look at me. You gotta look into the webcam.
Yep.
Okay, ready? Umizuma 1.
Right off the bat, he gets it.
But we gotta play fair. Rebuttal. That's what we normally play.
Rebuttal. Okay.
That's not what we normally play.
Umizuma none. Oh.
I went up.
There you go. Good job, man. Good job.
Okay, well, I know you have some good picks on your hands, so I'll just get mine out of the way first. Not out of the way, but I'll chat about mine.
You're acting like you don't have good picks or something on your side.
I do have. I mean, I don't know if you have similar picks as me. I'm sure there's some overlap. There got to be.
Yeah.
With us, because we just grew up together on the islands as an island duo, literally, as island boys. So I'm just going to start off. And this is an island duo. People like experiencing fresh, plump, and raw.
Oh, plump and raw. I mean, I was with the raw. I was gonna go poke, like maybe a poke bowl, the fish and rice, but then the plump, fresh, plump and raw, plump.
Yeah, it's pokeball, right?
It's pokeball, okay. Yeah, so the plump
is just throw it off a little bit,
kind of like
just like fat.
Yeah,
fat ahi, but. That's right. Islands are often surrounded by rich fishing waters, as we know, making seafood a staple in many island dishes. So this is not only contained to Hawaii, but you got fresh poke in Hawaii, to ceviche in the Caribbean islands, to melt in the mouth sashimi in Japan. Of course, we know they created sushi. We talked about our favorite nigiris in the past episode too. But each island has its unique vision of fresh fish that tells really a story of the traditions and cultures within that cuisine or just that geographic region. But since we're Hawaii boys and since, literally you and our boy Matt shaped a company around what is a poke bowl, it's one of the island's Hawaii staples. So we're going to talk about, poke bowl and the first duo basically being fresh fish with meals. So that's my first duo. And so you don't have this, or maybe you don't want to reveal that you don't have this pick yet?
Well, I was gonna say, like, I'm happy you brought it up because I actually don't have it, and I was really
Wow.
considering it.
Tough.
But I mean, it's hard to deny because, like you said, it's part of the island lifestyle is cultivating what is there, and some of the best fish is part of all island nature and just the geographic location. So, dude,
Yeah.
love it, love it.
Yeah. Because geographically, islands are surrounded by water and it's usually a smaller mass of land. So, of course, you have a higher chance of, yeah, just catching fresh fish or there being more seafood around the area. But talking about Hawaii specifically, this goes back to the native Hawaiians fishing for aku or skipjack tuna and he'e or taco, octopus. And they were staples in ancient diet. So they use sea salt, limu or seaweed as we know, and inamona, which is crushed kukui nut, to season their fresh fish. So this is a very authentic way of eating raw fish back in the day, an ancient way of eating. And then a lot of influence came in with the Japanese and Chinese immigrants arriving to work on the sugar and pineapple plantations in the late 19th century, early 20th century. And so, yeah, basically my ancestors.
There you go, bro.
And we bring in the soy sauce flavors, unagi sauce. They're adding new little things, and they're like, even some poke places have tempura flakes, but I don't know, I usually get onions, things like that. And then fast forward, then again, the poke wave kind of takes even the mainland and the United States mainland by storm, and they take it too far. They take it a bit too far,
Yeah,
honestly. And that's where I differentiate the two, and that being poke versus poke.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, yeah, we talk about the mainland, the commercialization and dilution of poke's authentic form, really. And now you're having these bowls, mixed bowls with a bunch of mash like fish. I don't even know. It's not fresh. It's definitely frozen, some of mash like tuna. Then you got like edamame in there and like it's weird shit like cucumbers, carrot, like all of these weird little ingredients like crab, like imitation crab and stuff.
Yeah.
Like that's not the authentic way of poke. And they literally call these places. I'm surprised there's not some like lost. I guess no one protected the authentic form of poke like that. But even you talk about, not to put them on a bad rap, the places are still like, they're still okay. They're still good, but I don't like how they call it poke. And you have places like Pokinometry or Pokimi. They literally spell it Poki. Because I got stoked when I was at Chapman and these poke places were popping up around campus. I was stoked because I was like, oh yeah, that's my home taste. And I want to try to experience what they got out here. So I went to these places stoked and was, severely disappointed once I tried these weird mashup bowls. But anyways, we need to bring poke back. If you guys want to taste an authentic style of poke, go to Oahu, Nico's Pier 32. That's my shout out. Nico's Pier. As you know, Mox, that's my place.
That's your place.
And man, they have really fresh fish. I get the bloody aku, and you taste like raw, fresh fish, and it's awesome. They even have, they have like Japanese garlic clam there sometimes, or kimchi taco, things that I like to enjoy as well. But that feels a little more authentic and is really fresh. So yeah, that's basically my first pick is fresh fish and meals. It's just a staple of Hawaiian lifestyle, island lifestyle, in fact. And I miss it every single day. There's only a few spots here in LA that kind of share a similar style of poke back to the islands, but nothing compares to back home.
Oh yeah. I did want to add one thing that just about the history. And the main reason why I kind of know this is because last year in Christmas, I filmed a video for the Heia fish pond. But essentially, back in like ancient Hawaii days, they didn't really have the resources to go out and canoe and fish out in the deep ocean. So like you kind of pointed to, they weren't eating ahi. They're eating like the different types of fish that you were talking about. But the only ways that they were able to cultivate it was through these fish ponds that they have.
Yeah.
And for me, I just wanted to point out like that this shows the innovation, just the knowledge of the land and the weather patterns that the Hawaiians and a lot of island people had of their island. It was like, you know, they didn't have too much space to work with, so they had to master the natural elements of their specific island. And pretty much the way that the fish pond worked was it started from the waterfalls. The waterfalls would rain down, create these waterfalls that would then stream. That was the fresh water, was any of the rainfall that came, went through the lava rocks. Now it's purified fresh water. From there, it then flows in a stream into their taro farms, their kalo farms, where they would plant, harvest kalo. And pretty much kalo is what you can only really grow it in mud. So it's perfect. Like the stream would break up, flow into these kalo farms, and all the fertilizer that was coming in would then come back into the river or the stream and flow down into the fish pond. All that fertilizer then fed the fish that were coming into the fish pond. And pretty much like their way of doing it was they would create like these like little small brackets for like baby fish to like swim in.
Grates, right? Like traps. So it's like a one way in, you get stuck.
One way out. Yeah. And once you eat and get all fat, you can't swim back out.
You can't swim back out. Smart.
And so they're literally getting their, you know, the harvest, their land, the kalo, which was their main source of nutrients, but then they're also getting their protein, fresh water, all in one system. And, you know, they call this the ahupua'a system. And it's amazing when you kind of like can see it too. Like when you stand at the fish pond, you could see the waterfall and then you could track it down through the land into the ocean. And it's remarkable that they just mastered the land in the way that they did. Really, really awesome. And love the pick, bro.
And shout out ʻAʻia Fish Pond, because I don't know how many fish ponds there are like that anymore.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's pretty sad.
Yeah. And if you look at it too, if we still had fish ponds and we were utilizing systems that pretty much took care of itself, the land and the earth would probably be a much better place, because what we've turned to was more of you're just kind of abusing the resources rather than letting the resources refurnish itself, which that was the system before. It was like everything was kind of feeding into the next, you know, because even the water from the fish pond would then evaporate, turn into rain that would come back down the waterfall. And so, you know, that was like one reflection I took when I filmed the video was I feel like the earth would be in a lot better place if they took some notes from what Native Hawaiians did, but also the Native Americans, a lot of different island people, just their systems of taking care of the land. So with my first pick, my first duo showcases two actions that couldn't be more opposite. Yet they go hand in hand, like sand and sunscreen. One is all about conquering the impossible, defying gravity, and feeling like a god riding on liquid gold. The other, it's about Mother Nature reminding you who's boss by throwing you headfirst into a natural washing machine. One moment you're gliding effortlessly across the face of nature's greatest masterpieces, and the next you're a human tumbleweed getting flipped upside down. To illustrate this even further, I have a song I would like to play. Yes, sir. That's right. The duo I'm talking about is the duo of surfing and wiping out. The thrill and the humility, the beauty and the chaos, the yin and the yang of ocean adventures.
Awesome.
Yes, sir.
Love it. Love it, bro.
Yes, sir. So, yeah, the duo of surfing and wiping out is as old as the activity, the sport itself. And I think this really symbolizes the highs and lows that are associated with wave riding. And of course, surfing is a key part to a lot of the island lifestyles, but specifically where we come from, back home in Hawaii. It's kind of like the epicenter. And you can't really think of surfing without thinking of wiping out because it's kind of just part of it. I kind of just want to get us kind of started with going back into some of the history with this duo. And surfing really originated in ancient Polynesia, with Hawaii being its epicenter. Known as he'enalu, or wave sliding, it was more than a sport. It was a spiritual and cultural practice tied to the oceans and the gods. And wiping out, so for early surfers, including Hawaiian royalty, they knew that falling off of their long wooden koa boards was all part of the process. The unpredictability of the waves made wiping out inevitable and a humbling part of mastering the art. And then, of course, from these ancient times, by the 1950s and 60s, surfing has become a cultural phenomenon, particularly in California and Hawaii, as surfers developed their own slang to describe their experiences, and wipeout became the go-to term for falling off a wave in a dramatic or chaotic way. And, you know, I guess for me, I haven't really surfed a lot in my life. I haven't caught a lot of waves, but I have definitely experienced wiping out a fair share of my time. Yeah. And what I can say about at least my experiences through wiping out is it makes me respect the art of surfing and just surfers in general, because it's like, I know that they probably went through this a lot of times. I know for me, when I wipe out, it's like, man, this sucks. You know, it's like
it feels like it's over. It feels like no. It is truly one of the most dangerous sports and things that can happen to you because you have no control. Like we talked about in our last episode too with water duos, just the power of these waves and the way it pulls you under. You just gotta literally hold your breath and hold on, you know?
Oh yeah.
You can't fight it. You just gotta let it happen.
Oh yeah.
So,
and it's so discombobulating too. You just don't know where your orientation is when you're getting tumbled down there. You know, you don't know what's under you. You're just, like you said, holding on. I think me, you, most people, wiping out is this kind of scary, intimidating, put you in your place type of thing. But the thing I respect and love about the surfers is they almost romanticize wiping out. Like I've watched some videos. I've heard surfers talking about their experiences wiping out, and it's not like a scary story. It's more of one of like it's funny. It's like they wear it as like a badge of honor. That I mean, I wiped out a pipe, got scraped by like the reef, but I made it out. And I think this duo is symbolic of a bunch of really important aspects just of life in general. And, you know, we kind of talked about it already, but there's this balance of triumph and humility. And, you know, I think surfing in a lot of ways resembles this. It represents the exhilaration of success. You know, when you see someone go through the tube and pop out on the other side. And, you know, like I kind of said in the introduction, they're like gods when they're riding these waves, these huge, monstrous waves. But then at the same time, you got to balance this with the humility aspect of it, because that's what the wipeout is. It doesn't matter how good you are, you'll still wipe out. Mother Nature reigns supreme, and you have to have respect and humility for Mother Nature at the end of the day and not get too high in the triumph. But then another part of it is this huge part of perseverance, because wiping out is inevitable with surfing. And people who continue to surf and become lifelong surfers need to persevere through the challenge of wiping out, the scariness of wiping out. In a way, all this kind of resembles the connection to life success, because in order to be successful in life, this is intertwined with persevering and having humility in the fact that it's not always going to go your way. So that's kind of like what I had for the duo of surfing and wiping out. And I kind of just wanted to ask you if you had any special memories, you know, since we grew up in the islands, any special memories of either surfing or wiping out?
Mm. Yeah, and then back to your other point about how people enjoy it, unless people talk about their wipeouts, unless they're, you ever see that series 100 Foot Wave? You're like Kai Lennon, you're riding like 100 Foot Wave, because that you don't want to experience, man. Those things,
Yeah.
that series is intense. It's one of my favorite docuseries of all time. It's on HBO. If anyone hasn't seen it, 100 Foot Wave, Garrett McNamara, all these legends go out to Nazaré in Portugal. But yeah, the sport has really carried on, but I haven't surfed much. You know, our friends tried to get us into it a bit, and we tried to take some lessons through Uncle Craig and Justin them. I remember one time I was out in Ala Moana with like Cam, Just, and everything. And this is one of the last times I've been out there, kind of past the short break. But I told this story to you before, and they're kind of hitting the little bit the bigger waves, and I was kind of going for the smaller ones because I wanted to practice. Mm-hmm. But I was out on the side, and then I saw this big like fin just appear maybe like 10 yards in front of me, come out of the water with three stripes on it. I remember specifically three like light brown stripes, and then it went back down under, and I was like, oh shit. And this was like early college, and I remember going back. I didn't freak out or anything, but I was like, okay, this looks like a tiger shark. So I turned it back and I told Justin that I was like, yo, I think I saw a tiger shark out here. I think I'm gonna head back in, or it's just, I don't know. I just want to go back in right now. And so they're like, oh, are you sure? Like sometimes turtles like flip their fins up and do that. I'm like, oh, it looked like a damn like near big fit, like a big shark fin, you know? So I was like, I'm just gonna head back. So I just kind of, without freaking out, just not thinking about it coming out, you know, under me. Because that's the scary thing too about the ocean. A lot of people can't get over the fact that a lot of times you're surfing and there's sharks under you, and there's all these things that are unknown as well. But that was one of the, I do want to get back into surfing sometime down the road when I get, you know, have more time, go back to the beach. I really do, because I enjoyed it while that run lasted. But another time I got wiped out was when one of the first times I rode waves at Keikis, just body surfing. And if you guys don't know, Keikis or Keiki Beach up on the North Shore is one of those shore breaks that is infamous for being unsuspecting and just powerful, just monster waves, especially during the winter time. And these waves can get up to, I'd like to say, 8 to 10.
Yeah. Oh,
potentially.
Yeah. Shore break too. And
on the shore break. So it's intense. And it's a long, big shore break, shore too. So the wave crashes down to the shore and it could really tug you and pull you back out like 20 yards, you know? And so there was a decision point, and I was like, because I saw maybe one or two other boys in there. I was like, yeah, screw it. You got to just try it. Just try to ride some waves. So I went in there, and there's some joy in getting tossed around and beat up. That's what people like, you know, trying to body, you know, surf and trying to get barreled just in a shore break. And I'm pretty sure I went for this one, and I got crushed into the sand, like hit my head on like the shore or like the side of my head or something. I was just getting tumbled. I had no control. I had no freaking idea where I was. I was under there for like 10 or so seconds, it felt like. And then after, I remember when I went back home that night, it felt good, but it felt like, you know, you feel like you get roughed up, you get a good, then you open, you know, I wasn't drinking beer at the time, but in that case, I would crack open a green bottle and dig into a poke bowl, you know, with replenish and everything. It feels so good after a day of just out in the water like that. But I remember I couldn't hear out of my like left ear or something, and then I had to go get checked out by the doctor. I was like, I know, like something's going on with my ear. And then he said, oh yeah, you have a bunch of sand lodged in there. So he went in and like a ton of sand just came out of my ear. But that was, one of my initial.
That's how you know you wiped out hard, bro.
That's how you know you kind of wiped out, when there's sand literally lodged into your ear and you're kind of plugged hearing. But it was a rite of passage, really, just to experience the North Shore, because that's when I was a kid, and since then it's been one of my favorite spots to go back to. But what about you?
I mean, kind of similar. I mean, you know, don't have a lot of experience surfing. I think the memory I have is like the memories as a kid when almost like the first times wiping out. I remember being on like my little uh like bodyboard and just getting tumbled out by where was it? Like Bellows or uh Sherwood's area.
Mm.
And I remember I was probably like 7 years old, but I just remember that washing, like I felt like I was doing like back flips or front flips over and over again, just continuing to get up. And I remember like at that point too, I was just like, I would like wipe out, and then my dad would be on the beach, like, yeah, like go again, go again. So I'd get back on the board, wipe out again, and just like that of just continuing to persevere and almost finding a little joy in the washing machine aspect of it. And yeah, those are some of my favorite memories. That's my first duel. What you got for your second one?
So this next duo is a duo that is probably the sole reason why Lai hockey even became a thing.
Okay. Okay. Dang. I mean, I'm thinking like tropical storms. Tropical storms, maybe.
Something to do with that. We're talking about islands and passing showers or weather changes. And it's because some people can see it as a con. For Lai hockey, maybe that's the case. But for others, it's a blessing. And we have this saying on the island, and we call it passing showers. And you brought this up in past episodes before. But when you're on the beach on a sunny day and a cloud rolls on overhead and it starts to drizzle, and the mainlander, the tourist, starts to pack up the beach mat, towels, and chairs, while a true island boy or girl stays exactly in the same spot and says, no worries. It's just passing showers. Yeah. So that's kind of the gist of it there. Because Hawaii, like a lot of these islands, have trade winds bringing moist air from the east and northeast coasts. And they go up and over mountains and volcanoes. And that's where again, like you mentioned in your first pick too, that's where it condensates and then it rains over the waterfalls and the mountains. That's why you have Rush Ko'olau mountain ranges in Oahu. And then on the other side, it kind of dries up and there's clear sunny skies. But because of this, along with warm ocean waters creating that condensation, it creates pockets of clouds that help feed the island's lush landscape. So this means it can be raining and then not raining in a matter of like minutes, in a few minutes. Mm-hmm. And this also means, like we experience only in Hawaii, this happens quite frequently, honestly. You can be driving in complete sun and then down a Hawaiian Highway H1 or whatever, and then all of a sudden you hit a wall of rain. And then in 20 seconds, you're back in straight up sun too. And then you see a rainbow in your rearview mirror. So that's the experience, the Hawaii experience, honestly. Yeah. And that's why Hawaii is the rainbow state. There's so many rainbows because of these passing showers. And what the sun does, it refracts off rain, water, and it creates the spectrum of colors that you see as the Hawaii logo. So yeah, these passing showers is what literally makes us the rainbow state. Is what feeds our waterfalls, how we grow our taro and how we feed our agriculture, and how Hawaii was just built on was through this weather changes. And of course, like experience with this, the weather changes, I think they are what make islands a very special thing. And of course, we're lucky in Hawaii because it's pretty moderate in terms of weather changes. There's, once in a while we get a hurricane or, a storm coming through, but not as often as a lot of these Southeast Asian islands, because they deal with like monsoons, even intense tsunamis and everything. They're not more prevalent in those areas. So we got lucky living in Hawaii, but you can't be on an island without weather changes and passing showers. So I love it. I think that's just part of the island experience. That's my second pick.
I love it, bro. And, I think anyone who grew up with Carter and I and maybe spent a lot of time with Carter and I, that's a common phrase for me is passing showers. And, I mean it in like a positive way because there'll be times where we're hanging out at the beach. Like I know one example that always comes to my mind when I think of passing showers is 4th of July. I think it was maybe even during like right after COVID or something. And we're out there And all of a sudden, you just see these clouds coming in from the ocean. And everyone's like, "Oh, bruh, that does not look good." And I remember I just like turned to everybody because I think I kind of like coordinated it and everything. So I kind of had to be like, the voice of reason. I had to be like set the tone. And so I just turned to everybody and I was like, passing showers, passing showers. The clouds eventually come in. Downpour. It's like
Downpour.
coming down hard.
We're getting rocked.
Yeah, getting rocked.
Yeah.
Like the tents are like shaking and everything. And like everyone's like, bro, I thought you said passing showers. I keep on turning. I'm like, passing showers, passing showers.
I think half the group left.
Well, yeah, no, it reached a point where people had to like maybe go into cars. Like they had to like kind of like start to
Seek shelter.
Take shelter because pretty much it went on for at least an hour, maybe an hour and a half of just straight up rain. And the whole time, and at some point, I think right around the 30-minute mark, I was starting to think maybe this
I don't know if this is passing. This is just a shower.
I was thinking maybe this could be just showers.
This could be just showers.
And I think at my like point of like starting to maybe accept, okay, this could be showers. We might have to figure it out now. It started to like slow down a little bit. It cleared up, and sure enough, it ended up being passing showers. And then when I came back into the tent, I told everyone, I knew it. It was passing showers. Yeah, but it's just like such a prevalent part of. I mean, at least I know for sure the Hawaii lifestyle. The passing showers is part of it, and we talked about like the metaphorical aspect of what passing showers means as well. And I think it's like that attitude of, it's not going to be bad forever. It's just passing, and I think there's something very important about that. And I think in a way it's part of like who we are, I think we're positive by nature, and maybe it was how we grew up. Maybe it's like the fact that we grew up in islands where we knew that the showers that came would pass. So I think
I just have to mention one more thing.
Yeah.
I know I mentioned Lai Hagi up at the top. For those who don't know, there's a news weatherman. His name is Guy Hagi, and he's pretty infamous for reporting weather and it being the complete opposite, as it turns out during the week. But again, with passing showers and everything, weather changes on islands, you got to give the guy some slack, because you literally have to give Guy slack because it's super hard to predict. Like there's no way of knowing. It can be on the weather app, it can say raining and it could be sunny, or it can say sunny and then it starts raining. There's passing showers, like we said. So
yeah, the hardest weather job in the world.
In the world is island weather. Just like, I don't know, bro. Like, we'll see what happens.
Bro, one thing I'll always give Guy Hagi too is he takes it on the chin, and he honestly like memes himself about it. Like
he memes himself. He just accepts it.
Yeah, because he knows like this.
He knows he's a surfer too.
Weather job. Yeah, this is the hardest weather job in the world. And I always just thought like I like always kind of just respected the fact that he like would always just kind of like put it out there, because you have to put a lot of it would be, he would say that a tsunami's coming or a hurricane's coming, and it just wouldn't. It would miss us. And but like he has to say,
if you see a hurricane coming on the big chart and you're just trying to, and it's gonna hit this little dot in the middle of the ocean, like it might miss it, there's a good chance. But
are you gonna not tell people like it could hit you? Like you got to let them know, you know. So a lot of respect.
Gotta give him some slack, guys. Gotta give him some slack. But it's unfortunate that his name does rhyme with lie. So it was an easy gamification of that. But anyways, what's your second pick, bro?
So going into my second pick, and I don't know if all my picks this round are gonna have like this little introduction to it, so stick with me on this. All right, my next duo is all about showing up on your own terms. Like maybe 15 minutes late, maybe an hour. Who's counting? It's the ultimate excuse for running behind, but looking relaxed while doing it. This duo thrives on living life at your own pace, ignoring clocks, deadlines, and the frantic energy of the world around you. Think slow strolls, good vibes, and the kind of mindset where even traffic feels like a suggestion rather than a reality. So, you got any guesses here?
Yeah, it was just like Hawaii time and or island time and
Yes, sir.
our just style or just time of pace of living. How about that? Like island pace of living. And I don't know what the duo is, but just island style of living.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, knocked it on the freaking dome, dude. And my dynamic duo, and this one's like a little bit metaphorical, but it's island time. That's the duo, island
Oh,
time.
nice. Okay.
Um, and you know, the reason why I took this as a duo is because there are two separate entities to it. There's the island, which is like the physical geographic location. And this is important to the phrase, you know, because you're talking about like lush, beautiful scenery surrounded by water. And this evokes peace and simplicity, tranquility. But then the other aspect is the time. And, you know, I think the way that island time works and islanders view time is it's relaxed, fluid, and it's perceived and experienced in island culture with unbounded by strict rules.
Mm.
Together, they create a concept of living that's slower, intentional, and rooted in the present moment. And so I think, of course, this kind of ties back into like the history of what, I mean, specifically maybe Hawaii, because that's what we know. But I think a lot of the islands kind of can relate to, because historically, time kind of represents the natural rhythms of the environment, whether it be the sunrise, sunset, the tides, and seasons. And without like the harsh winters or rigid industrial schedules, many island cultures developed a more relaxed pace of being. And so, you know, indigenous cultures like places in Hawaii, Tahiti, the Caribbean value community, connection, and living in the moment. And this laid back mindset contrasts the punctual, productive focus of more Western industrialized societies.
Right.
And then, of course, like as time kind of passes, tourism grew in these tropical locations, and visitors began to notice this slower pace, whether waiting longer for meals or observing locals leisurely just going through their routines. And they actually coined the term island time, kind of now going back into our own reflection with this. I can confidently say that I'm a strong representative of island time. You know, I'm commonly late to things, whether it be a couple minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes. And it's definitely something I'm like, you know, I'm getting better at, I'm working on, because, you know, I also want to be better at just respecting other people's time and just being more, you know, on it. And of course, I think this comes with a balance though, because I think there is a lot of great benefits to just living life on island time, because it's exactly what this is about. It's about being in the present moment. It's about kind of just staying to where you are and enjoying where you are, really, and just really taking in the beauty of everything around you and not getting so caught up with, oh, what's next? Oh, okay, I got to be here at this time. I feel like a lot of times people can get stressed out about being on time, and that not being on time is such a bad thing. But it could also cause just unnecessary stress by just hyper focusing on always just like being there. I think just because you aren't on an island doesn't mean you can't live with the natural vibrations that life throws your way. So don't death grip the steering wheel of life. Instead, I say move at island time, move at a slower pace, and enjoy the beauty and the scenery around you. So yeah, I guess a question to throw out to you, Card, is where do you kind of lay on this spectrum of island time and maybe more
Yeah.
being on it? Yeah, the Western kind of concept of time of punctual.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, I love that you brought this up because it is a big thing. This island pace of living, this island time that you talk about, and it's for real. And I don't want to call it the scapegoat for why people like us are late, you know, and now we're living on the West Coast, so things move a lot differently. And again, like you said, there's a fine line with it and there's a push and pull. But me living in LA where things are moving so quickly and everything's, you know, it's almost disrespectful if you don't show up on time or early. I've had to shift my way of thinking. But there's so much to talk about here. I don't know. There's one little thing that I just thought about was even when you're saying goodbye to, well, first of all, I guess in Hawaii, when you're 15, 20, half an hour late, like no one cares. It's just, it's almost expected. It's totally accepted as
Yep.
okay. But when you're somewhere else in the mainland and you're 10 to 15 minutes late, that could be the difference between, oh, you're fired, or, you're fired, or like
Like,
yeah,
we don't
you're
want to be
just,
friends with you no more.
yeah, like you
Yeah.
lose respect, or it's just
Yeah.
disrespectful.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting thing. So for people who don't understand island time, you have to understand where we're coming from, because it is a thing. And like you said, it's staying in the present. But a thing that I think about is the opposite of an Irish goodbye is a lot of people at local parties or family get-togethers, and just family outings or parties, anything like that. A lot of times my family and I, especially my dad, my dad's known for this. He's kind of a little aloha type of guy. And he'd like to, once we say goodbye, I know I'm going to say goodbye for like damn near half an hour.
Yeah.
Like once you say, okay, let's head out, we're going to say, it's going to take us about like half an hour just to get out of here. Because you're talking story with people. You're just, you're talking about, oh, when we're going to see each other next, last little things and, sentiments that you want to share with the other person. And you're saying bye to each and every person. And I love that because it's part of the aloha spirit, and it's part of, showing your love and appreciation for spending that time together. Even if you got somewhere to go, a lot of people are like, oh, I gotta head out. But then they end up staying another 20 minutes because they're just saying goodbye and making sure, they give love to everyone in that space. So yeah, there's a fine line to it. Something else that I want to bring up is I had to adjust literally my walking speed when I first came up to college in California. And it's crazy. People literally walk slower in Hawaii by a good amount. I think you could actually like study this. If you went around Hawaii and took the average of the miles per hour people are walking versus a place like even LA, or say so even New York, it'd be a large difference, huge difference. And there's a physical aspect of it, like you said, the island time, where I think literally the weather, the humidity, and everything actually causes you to move a little slower, just relax a little more. Your muscles literally relax a little more. If you think about that, right? In New York, you're in a almost 10-degree weather, something like that. You go outside, you're trying to hurry up and get into a taxi, or you're trying to hurry up and get into another place because it's literally cold. Like you don't want to be outside. But in Hawaii, it's so beautiful and nice outside. Why not stroll around and enjoy? I think your body actually literally relaxes. So there's a physical reasoning for that. But I think also it's just the attitude with the island style of living. No stress, no worries. And I love that you brought it up. But I don't know. I strayed away from your question that you asked me,
I think you actually really answered it there. I think you kind of talk about that balance, which I was kind of getting to, is like that spectrum of where you lie. And I think, I'm in a very similar predicament as you, is, up here, like you kind of said, it's just two different ways of being, and I think that's kind of like what I really like about this duo as a whole. It really reflects that. Even for me, when I'm coming up here in Portland, and I can't imagine like SoCal, like there's probably a difference between SoCal and Portland, even.
Yeah.
Between like the way people walk, the way people move. But it was like one of the first thing I noticed. And I remember like me and my other roommates from Hawaii were like, brah, people move fast here. It's like people are passing me when I'm walking to class, like all the time. And I'm like, and it makes me have to like kind of pick it up a little bit. But then, yeah, it's like the same thing that you said, because I see it from both sides. Time is very important. It's an important aspect of, it's like one of our most valuable resources too. And, I want to make sure I'm respecting other people's time, being on it in that sense. But then it's like that balance though, because for me, the way I see it is, it's like, yeah, you want to make sure you respect people's time. But when I'm there, I'm using my time to be present, to just enjoying the moment, because I love what you just said there about the family style. It's the opposite of the Irish goodbye at like these big parties, family parties, because that's the way I grow up. And I still try to do it till this day, whether I'm up here, whether I'm back home. I make my rounds, bro. And I say goodbye to everybody, regardless of how long it takes. Sometimes it could take an hour because you just end up talking story with someone for like another 30 minutes before you head out. Plan plans, you know, with someone before you head out. But I mean, this is like what Hawaii is all about. It's like that aloha spirit. It's about, you know, showing people that you care about them, that you're there for them, rather than just kind of like dipping and going to whatever you have next. Which, you know, like I said, I get it because time is important and you want to maximize your time. But at the same time, kind of what this whole podcast is about, you spending time with other people isn't like a waste of time, and showing them that you care isn't a waste of time. And so there's that balance there that, you know, I think I'm still trying to figure out, you know, now and stuff. Cause, you know, we've been here for a good while away from Hawaii in America, but, you know, I'm still trying to figure out where I lie on that spectrum, or the best place to lie on that spectrum. So yeah.
So the funny thing, what I started doing recently, and what I can plan to continue to do, is if I have a time block or an appointment or a thing I have to wake up for, like say this, I'm even late to this podcast in the morning constantly. Like, you know, and I know you understand too, because it's island time, that's why. But I started doing a thing where, I set the time earlier. So I'll set it like at 7 a.m. rather than 7:15 a.m. Or if I have an appointment, I set it like 15, 20 minutes earlier just for myself. So, because I know I'm going to be kind of in this island time type of deal, but at least I budget more time for that thing for the beginning part of it, to, first of all, to be late myself, but then actually be on time, Western time. And then for the post side of it, where, we're saying our goodbyes and doing, you know, making goodwill with everyone. But I know it might run long, so I budget that extra time, the post side of things too. So maybe that's the way. We'll see. But I'm also balancing the act between being on time and being present as well. So this last one is a special one to us. This is a nighttime duo that really reminds me of home and the island experience. It was a location you would constantly tag as a meetup spot for, and I'll say it right here, we can cut it off if you want, a Snapchat story you ran called Iolani Lit Parties. I just exposed you right there.
So
do people know? We can bleep it out.
Well, I'm not Iolani Lit Parties, bro.
Wasn't it you and Leb?
No, not me and Leb. Leb's one of them. Sorry, Leb. Sorry to expose you, bro. But
wait,
Leb is
what?
one of them. Yeah, I ain't the other one, bro. I know who the other one is though, because I was like, I worked with them. I was.
You're like an associate.
Yeah. I was a client to Iolani Lit Parties.
You're like the market. You're like kind of like a sales rep.
I guess. Okay. Iolani Lit Parties might have been, I guess, my client, because it was like I would go to them to like publish things, like get it across the grade.
Wait, who else was it?
We could cut this out.
Yeah, we'll cut it out.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah.
Did I know that or did I not?
I don't know, bro.
I don't know.
It's crazy. Like a lot of people won't expect that, you know?
Wow,
like,
that's unsuspecting.
Yeah. A lot of people won't expect that, but
maybe we could somehow figure out to edit this in, like just
maybe bleep it out, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, so I'm gonna go into what I think the duo is. I'm thinking it's the beach and bonfire. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But kind of tying that back into like what we're talking about here is our senior year, junior year-ish too, as like a way to kind of get our grade together, have like some fun. I would plan these bonfires. But the funny part is there wouldn't ever be like a fire lit, because it was probably the quickest way for a policeman to kind of like know that there's something going on and come down and end the party. So we would call it bonfires, but there would never be a fire. It would just be us hanging out on the beach.
Yeah.
But bonfires were a huge part of just Hawaii. And I think we've done like bonfires in a smaller group. But yeah. Great pick, bro, on this one. Love it.
Yeah, but that's right. We're talking about the Goons' number one activity, the light and the darkness of beaches and bonfires. So we were blessed to live in a place where we could be wearing board shorts, slippers and a tank top at 10:30 p.m. at night, walk with our flashlights down a pitch black, beach path to stumble upon a moonlit shore of the south side of the island. Those beaches where we usually did our bonfires and kind of nighttime sessions. But we would frequent these beaches at night a lot. In fact, a lot of them kind of on the south shore, Kahala kind of area. Wait, what was the beach?
Well, a lot of times with just like our friend group, we would go to Hunakai.
Hoonies, yeah.
Yeah, Hoonies. But for the bonfires, it was Diamond Head.
Diamond Head.
Yeah.
So we're talking about Hunakai Beach, Diamond Head. But a different way I kind of want to approach this, because I'm sure we have countless moments just setting up shop, starting a fire with just some of the boys or some of our friends and just kind of singing into the night. But to kind of approach this differently, I wrote out steps to making a good beach bonfire. Wow. So we can kind of go through it here, and you can either agree or disagree to add things you think as well. But I love it. It's very simple. Number one, once you get out to the beach, is you find the perfect spot. So you want a space that can fit the amount of people you're dealing with there, but it's also hidden, so because sometimes we're always sussed out about, I don't know, potential ops or police kind of knowing about, was it legal? Is it legal to do bonfires? I think
there's certain beaches, but I don't think at Hoonies, I don't think it was legal.
Okay, they'll put Hoonies in there, but we were at some beach. It wasn't us, but but you want a big space, but a hidden, space, potentially with natural sitting spots or a little ledge for people can sit around. And you definitely want a place with a good view of the sky. You don't want a place covered with trees or anything, because the whole idea when you're out there is to look up at the stars. And that's one of the beauties of Hawaii, is the clear skies, and you can look out to the stars while you're talking story, while you're having a good time. But that's step number one. And then number two is you dig your hole. So it's essential. I think a lot of times we used to go bare hands. You didn't need a huge hole, honestly, you're not making huge fires. One time I remember I was at a beach bonfire at Keikis, and they literally just set up like teepee wood mountain. It was a huge bonfire. But you dig your hole. Eventually I integrated like the shovel into the practice, because I bought this little shovel with me, beach shovel. It was more like not even a beach shovel, it was like a dirt industry shovel, but we used to dig pretty deep holes with it. And number three, you find your firewood. So there's usually like, I think one or two like lead chiefsmen or firemen who would be in charge of like actually creating the fire. And then the rest of the people would kind of go scavenging for good wood.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or like a few people would go out to go, their assignment was just go grab a bunch of wood, or those who knew the type of dry wood you needed to spark a fire. So once you find all the firewood, you throw it all in. And then number four, you light the fire. And normally we did this, it's sad to say on the beach, but we did this assisted with some type of fire starter or something, you know what I mean? Just to get it started, just to get it lighted. And then you kind of nurse it and see it grow a little bit, add more firewood. And then number five, of course, you need the jams. So someone had to bring speaker. A lot of times I was on speaker duty, or I was expected to bring the speaker as well. It was either you or I, actually.
Totally.
Most of the time to bring the speaker and provide the jams, island music, whatever you're listening to. And then once the fire's going, everyone kind of naturally ends up singing. And then, so that's number six. And then number seven, I have shenanigans. So whatever that may be,
whatever that means.
We're doing, whatever that means, but it's usually associated with playing games, like we just played earlier, Umizuma, categories, or even singing, having song contests.
Yeah.
A lot of these foundational games in our experience happen at beaches and with bonfires. So I had to include it. Again, like I said in the beginning, this is a pick that really reminds me of home when I think about home nighttime lifestyle and at least home nighttime activities. I immediately think about beaches and bonfires and the excitement and the rascal energy of it, and just the camaraderie we shared. with boys under the stars and the moon on the beach. There's no other place other than islands, and especially Hawaii, that you can do that just at night. It's too cold
Mhm.
everywhere else. It's not the same. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, love the pick. I would say the only thing I would maybe alter, maybe add, I would move the speaker a little bit earlier.
You
Probably
kind
like
of get
once
that
you find the
going
spot, yeah, get
once
it
you find the
going,
spot.
get the
Yeah,
vibes kind of like up a
it's
little
true.
bit. And then I would add even one a little bit before it. And I think this is a key little detail is you want to park, and if you're the first one there, you wait till everyone else gets there, and then you all kind of like convoy together. Because like once you get out there, it's kind of
Oh,
hard to like stay on your phone and stuff. So that would be one
yeah,
step. So you kind of go in as a unit. You're going in as
yeah,
like your squad is coming in, and because it could be hard to find where people are. It's dark, like you said. So
it's
um,
true.
that's another key aspect of it. But dude, love the pick. It's such a big part of just our memory with the islands, and I feel like a lot of people who either grew up on the islands or maybe even vacationed there probably had some type of bonfire experience in their lifetime. All right, my final duo is all about unleashing your inner warrior. A single cry that could turn a chill gathering into an instant celebration. It's loud, it's proud, and it's the official sound of stoke levels reaching maximum capacity. You got any guesses?
Oh, of course, I know what you're talking about here.
Oh yeah, oh
Are you gonna
yeah,
do it?
yeah. I'm talking about the infamous. Wait for it. Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Sorry,
And
roommates. I probably woke them up right now.
but bro, we we started the introduction with this CHEEE HOOOO to kind of get the vibes going, bro. And when you let a good, strong CHEEE HOOOO out, there's nothing better, and there's nothing that kind of just gets the energy in the room going like a CHEEE HOOOO. Everyone can feel it. It's not even just like something you hear; you feel a good CHEEE HOOOO. And so I'm gonna go into like just a quick history. But the main thing I kind of wanted to talk about is kind of like what you did with the bonfire, but just like the aspects of what makes a good CHEEE HOOOO. Because there's a science behind it. There's a science behind having a good CHEEE HOOOO. But yeah, so kind of going into the history, the chant like yell is believed to have its roots in Polynesian culture, where similar exclamations were used during traditional ceremonies, dances, or when warriors or groups achieved something significant, which kind of badass, bro. Like, you just won a battle and you're letting a fucking rip.
That's bad.
That's badass.
Who is the first CHEEE HOOOO? That's a good question.
I guess like what I took from this history is before there was exclamations like, yeah, like I don't know what they were saying, but like there was just like yeah, like they had that as part of their culture. It's like when you do something significant, you kind of let one rip. But I don't think it was CHEEE HOOOO yet. It was very traditional to Polynesian culture. Loud vocalizations were integral to ceremonies and dances, which in Hawaii it's hula, and Samoa it's siva, and group activities. And these sounds were used to signal unity, excitement, or victory. And in Hawaii, CHEEE HOOOO emerged as a playful, informal exclamation. It's widely used by locals to show excitement, often at sporting events, celebrations, or when hyping up a group. And so, that's kind of what the history of what CHEEE HOOOO is about. But what I kind of wanted to do here is I wanted to break up the CHEEE HOOOO into two parts, because this is the duo. It's the CHEEE and then the HOOOO. And both of these parts are extremely important to the overall CHEEE HOOOO. I don't know if enough people are talking about the science between a CHEEE HOOOO and what makes it so good, because you can't have a strong CHEEE and a weak HOOOO and it still having the same effect. And you can't have a weak CHEEE and a strong HOOOO and it still has a similar effect.
Mhm.
You have to have strong
It's a
two
duo.
parts.
The
It's a
CHEEE and the
duo.
HOOOO is a duo itself.
Yeah. They both need to come to play. If they don't come to play, you have a weak CHEEE HOOOO and the vibes are going to be off a little bit. Kind of going into it. So I'm breaking it down right here. So the chi needs to have some rasp. This is where the full commitment comes in. It needs to come in on the chi.
It's like
It's
a
a
little
full
gut.
send.
It's guttural.
Yeah, you got to come from the gut. You got to feel in the throat. Like you got to be like, like, you know, like it's like almost like breaking. Like you should be
But
breaking
it
your
comes
vocal
from the
cords.
belly too.
It
Like
comes from the belly.
it's not like chi. It's like chi. It's like a little like
yeah, yeah. You're barking it almost. You're barking it, and it should be coming out so strong that your vocal cords feel like they might just fucking like go, kind, like
it's
a
a scream.
strong chi.
It's a
Yeah,
scream.
it's a
It's a
scream.
cry.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And so I think this is like critical. You need a strong chi. If you have a weak chi, no matter how strong the who is, it's gonna be a weak chi who. So the chi needs to be going.
And it's hard to. That's the hard part. I think is going. It's literally 0 to like 200%. You're going from 0 like silence to immediately 250%.
Oh yeah,
like yelling. You
and
know, so that's
I
the
feel like
tough part.
and I feel like the best way to do it is you gotta feel it. You know, like the chi who shouldn't just like be thought out. It needs to be felt. Like when you feel a chi who, you just gotta let it rip.
Yeah.
Just go, commit to it. You can't be thinking about it like, oh, should I go chi who here? And stuff. It's like when you feel that chi
it's
who,
commitment.
Just go. Yep.
Yeah.
And a way I kind of described it like as like a visual way to know that it's a strong chi is when you see a guy's like veins kind of popping out on the side of their head. They're like, you know, like the veins are going.
So even the neck veins too. Yeah,
neck,
right here. Yeah, the neck.
Yeah. And then from this comes the who. Now, what I think of when I think of the who is it's the descend, like for us choir, it's the descendo to the cheese crescendo.
Yeah. I love that.
So the best who's they lose volume, but they don't lose the power. It's a you know how Mr. A kind of like talked out the shendos. You're not losing power. You're still bringing it from the gut, but you're like, who.
That's awesome. Yeah, it is. Mr. A used to do. He used to like really fucking like.
Hold it on.
Mr. A would be so like expressive with his with that shit. Like he'd really hold it.
And even if you're kind of going, he'll be like,
come on, bring. Okay. Yeah. Then he'd turn back around, and then he'd bow, and he'd do the. And he'd turn back around and be like,
yeah, either mad or he'd be like,
he is funny, man. Yeah. Love Mr.
A. So you know, it's a choir term, but this is what the who is about. You're still using the full power of your diaphragm, but now it's to like get it out of there. You gotta like, whoo, like you know, like when the best chi whoos, you got that whoo, and it's like kind of like.
And it actually dissipates with the end of your breath because you're taking that same guttural breath, right? And you're just pushing out the last breath, and it kind of naturally
fades.
The natural fade. It's a natural breath fade. Yeah.
Yep. I like that. That's a good way to put it too. And like this is the control to the chi's almost outrageous energy. You know, it's like the strong energy of the chi, and then the who kind of has to send it home. And so they really balance each other out in this way too. And when done correctly, as I said, you don't just hear it, you feel it. And a great chi who leaves a residue in a room that is contagious. It makes you just want to like jump out of a plane and get going. It makes you want to go into battle. It just gets the blood and your heart going. So yeah, to me, like that's kind of what makes the duo so great. It's like this transfer of energy from one voice to a collective. And when you hear one chi who, you can't help but almost let one rip yourself. It almost like starts a eruption of chi whoos when you just hear that first one that gets it going. So it's that transfer of energy that really kind of goes into a collective. Yeah, and I think there's like no other phrase or saying in the islands that can really turn a room up than the infamous CHEEE HOOOO. And that's why it's a dynamic duo. And it's not just Hawaii, it's a lot of the Polynesian islands use CHEEE HOOOO as their war cry. So yeah. That's what
Love
I
it.
got. Yeah. What's your
Awesome.
thoughts? I also wanted to ask like if you have a memorable CHEEE HOOOO experience, but in general, just like
Of
what's your
course.
thoughts about the CHEEE HOOOO?
I mean, it's the Hawaiian expression. It's the voice. It's like the
Mm,
saying the phrase of Hawaiian stoke and
yeah.
just pride in spirit. It
Mhm.
shows so much like pride and the spirit of Hawaii. There's a lot of like aloha and grace and everything too, but that's the cool thing about Hawaii. It's like laid back, but then you also have this side of the warrior cries and everything, the pride and the spirit of
Yeah.
the local spirit and everything, and that's really embodied by the CHEEE HOOOO. And it's
Yeah.
awesome to see because you could be so laid back, eating poke bowls and chilling at the beach, and then all of a sudden you're out somewhere and a ton of people are just screaming CHEEE HOOOO,
Yeah.
and it's electric. To
Yeah.
lack of better terms, it's just,
It's
yeah, there's
electric.
nothing like it. It's electric.
Yeah.
So that's first off. But yeah, secondly, I was more of a shy kid growing up, as you know, and I'd feel it too, even in school ceremonies or school gatherings when people would start chihooing. And I was one of those kids. I couldn't really find it. I never really tried it yet because I'm not a guy who would just scream out in public. Like, I'm definitely not that type of dude. You know, I'm
Yeah.
more to myself, introverted. However, it's not until I left the islands and I came over here for college that I missed it so much that I wanted to kind of reconnect. And I did find my inner Chihu. And this was, I think I told you this story before, but I went to this place. I saw it on Yelp. It was near Chapman. It's called Ipono Cafe in Newport, California. 20, 25-minute drive from Chapman University. And I checked this place out, and they had this guava chili pepper fried chicken or something like that, and they broke them out like
Bro.
it was nuts. And I was like, I haven't had that kind Hawaiian food, that good Hawaiian food, since being back at home. Like, even like not even at home in general, but just like those very special parts and places in Hawaii that you remember in your childhood, just of these local plate
Yeah.
lunches and everything. So that brought me back to that, and I was stoked I found this place. I was so stoked I found this place that on the drive back, I think I put and there's a clip of it, I believe. I can find it and then we can maybe add it in here, but I just started playing with I was just like, wow, bro. Like, I think I just started vlogging it. I was just kind of like this. I found this place, and I started kind of playing with the chi a little bit, and just kind of came. I was like, cheers, like, started like going a little bit. And I'm not doing it well. I don't want to do it here,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I just started playing with the chi, and then I found the chi, the guttural chi, a little bit, and then I
Mm.
let it rip the chi hu, and I think that's where I found my inner chi. But everyone can find their inner chi, and you gotta really, it maybe
Yeah.
comes to people later than expected. For me, it came to me when I was maybe 22, like, something like that, 22,
Don't,
23 years old. But
don't matter, bro.
it don't matter. The chi found me. It found my inner chi with Hawaii, and then since then, yeah, I've been ripping it. I'm glad I was able to find it because I never
Oh
thought I
yeah.
would.
Yeah. And it's that almost a release of energy. It's hard to like even describe because it's almost like it builds up to the point where I know for me, it's like it builds up to a point where I'm like, bro, I just gotta let one Chihu rip. And sometimes it's like by myself, even, or even like if I'm like snowboarding and I just like had like an epic run, I'll be like, Chihu, Chihu, as I'm like
Yeah.
finishing up the run, and it's just like it just gotta come out, It's just
Yeah.
built up energy, just
Mhm.
like waiting to be erupted through a chihu. And I think That's like the best thing about it. And you kind of talked about it. It's funny because you have some chill dudes, some dudes who are like super mellow, like go with the flow. But when the time comes and that CHEEE HOOOO's ready to rip, like I think of one of our good friends, Boogs, Brendan Goo.
Boogs.
He's a chill dude, bro. Very
I wouldn't
mellow,
say
you
he's
know.
necessarily a chill dude,
Not chill,
but
not chill, maybe not chill, but like he's a very not like loud spoken guy
more
for
just like kind of
yeah.
to
Yeah,
himself
yeah,
most of the time.
yeah. You know, he's just kind of like he's more so like a more quiet guy. But when
Yeah.
something comes that's deserving of a CHEEE HOOOO, that guy lets it rip.
Wow.
And
He's a
he has a
great one,
great
bro.
CHEEE HOOOO.
One of the
He has
best
a
ones
great
that I've known.
yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
And he gets like he'll like
Yeah,
really raise his leg and yeah.
yeah. Like he's lifting the leg. And like,
He's like he's kind of he's kind of
but like, bro, that's how. Hey, I talked about
kind
it,
of
bro.
tweaking out.
When you see the physical, like busting your freaking veins out, you know the guy's ripping it.
Yeah.
And that's Boogs, bro. And you
Yeah.
know, that's like the awesome part about the CHEEE HOOOO. And one thing else that you talked about that I love is the aloha spirit, bro. This is a reflection. The island time is a reflection. A lot of what we talked about here is even like the metaphor with passing showers. A lot of it is kind of ties back into this aloha spirit, which almost I think cultivates it all. Is the aloha spirit of just love, unity, gratitude, appreciation for people, for where you are, the present moment. And I think that's what the CHEEE HOOOO reflects too. It's like this passing of energy. It's like this joy, this unity that all kind of comes out, and it all ties back into this overarching theme with us in Hawaii as the aloha spirit. Yeah.
Yes, sir. I wouldn't trade growing up on the island of Hawaii for anything else in this world. There's something truly special about it. I mean, you hear about it, but to actually experience it and to have met you and to have met everyone, friends and family, and be a part of that culture, I wouldn't trade it for the world. It's truly special. And man, yeah, it's just we're so lucky. I'm so blessed to have that upbringing.
Yeah. And dude, I think this ties back into a point I wanted to make. And you know, this podcast, regardless of I don't know how many people are listening to it, but we have a platform here. And you know, I wanted to like just share and wanted to add this because I feel like, you know, us growing up in Hawaii, this resonates with us. And, you know, our audience is probably a lot of people from Hawaii. But for those who might not be from Hawaii and are listening to this, I just wanted to add that remaining in the islands is becoming harder and harder. You know, we got this term, the saying goes, price out of paradise. And for many locals, this is the case. You know, many people are forced to create homes in foreign lands because of the price it takes to like live in beauty just keeps on going up, and it sucks. You know, for me personally, going through these duos, it of course made me reflect on how much home, all the island duos means to me, but it also made me reflect on what the reality of the matter is, and I might not be able to raise my kids in a special place that I called home. And I guess the main point I wanted to make was for those of you who visit this beautiful place that we call home, just like experience the true culture of each island and have respect for the land, the culture, and the people who aren't vacationing here, but who call this place their everyday home. Because when you go back to your own home, you can now take away something that's more valuable than a tan, memories, any of that. You can leave with a knowledge and an understanding of what makes these islands and the island way of being and the people who live on these islands so unique and special. And that's kind of just what I kind of wanted to share with this ending part of this episode.
I love that. And yeah, if you're a tourist and you're visiting, if you just show a little bit of that respect, that aloha spirit to the islands, to the people, man, the islands and the people will welcome you with open arms, for real. But you got to show that, that respect and the willingness to know and to realize that this is their home and this is their island. They've grown up, you know, it's not just a place where you just come to and it's a vacation at the Four Seasons or whatever, you know, there's a lot more to it, a lot of history with it. So just understanding that and respecting it,
Yeah.
and you'll have an amazing time, and hopefully you can take away a thing or two about this island style of living and implement it into your own lives.
Yeah, exactly. Because when you learn, and I think that's like yeah, it's just coming in with like a attitude of learning rather than just just doing, experiencing. Like learn while you're there, because then when you go home, you now don't just like have memories, but you can now live your life in a new way of being. And I guess for anyone who's listening, we would love to hear your own experiences on the islands. We would love to hear whether you traveled there, whether you live there. What's your favorite island duos? There's so many we haven't even talked about. We haven't talked about, like, we talked about poke bowls, but there's so many other foods, phrases, like activities.
Hula.
The cultural aspect of it. There's
Conch
so
shells.
yeah, conch shells. Like even like luau's, the kalo is like a big one. But
Waterfalls,
man,
hikes.
waterfalls, dude, so many things. And so yeah, we would love to just hear what you guys like. Yeah. Hey, Carter, what you got, anything else you want to throw in there?
No, that sounds good. Yeah. Thanks for listening, everyone. And
yes, sir.
Yeah.
I guess like
shoot. We'll see you next time.
Yeah. Yeah, shoots then.
Yeah, shoots.